I've been working there since 2004 in different capacities, later. Back then, I was documenting the war, which some of you might know is between the Lord's Resistance Army and the government of Uganda. Mostly known in the West, Joseph Coyne, leader of the rebels, and made famous by 2012, I guess. Child abduction and child soldiering is most of us talked about here. But since I went in 2004, I was always really concerned with the phenomenon of forced internal displacement. The entire rural population was displaced off their farms and off their land by the government into displacement camps that had deplorable conditions, what actually had an excess death rate of 1,000 people per month. So arguably, far more people died from the government's policy of forced displacement off the land than from any military or rebel activity. I've been visiting since 2004, and I would stay progressively longer as the war dwindled within one specific displacement camp called Pabwoc displacement camp. And in 2008, the end of 2008, people started to return home after a ceasefire, which was wonderful because to see people repeatedly through terrible conditions and to be able to visit them back in their homesteads and their farmlands was just kind of a dream. And so I decided to do a PhD, even though I hadn't wanted to before, just so I could continue with them a little bit on their journey. At that point in international academia and policy, people were talking about transitional justice. You know, what kinds of trials and truth commissions are needed for communities to move on, what type of memorials, what type of security system reforms. The people I worked with, however, it was very far from their everyday lives, very rural subsistence farming communities, and I was very interested in, you know, how this kind of discourse shapes policy, if there an impact, and should we even be talking about these kind of isolating them as neo-colonial, could be neo-colonial kind of practices. I visited the community back in the village, which was awesome, in Pabwoc, in 2010 to discuss a little bit about, I had just started my PhD and asked them if they were interested in working with me, and I think they were just excited that they could host me, you know, and have be in their homes with their land, their farm. And one of the things I was talking to them about was that people rarely discussed the war. They were very busy trying to make their lives, sort of make farming sustainable again for their families. But people, when they did talk about the devastating effects, it wasn't about the camps or how many people died or the abductions and child soldiering or the violence, but it was really about how youth were out of culture. And I heard this quite often. And it was really talking about some kind of intergenerational strife that I was very interested in pursuing when I looked at how communities move on after the war. So I was asking them about that in 2010 when we were sort of planning for me to come and do field work. And at that point, they expressed an interest in it as well. And so speaking from looking at what type of cultural concepts and a little bit like indigenous knowledge systems, what does that mean then if youth are not part of these same cultural systems? And what does that mean for the community in terms of social order, social control, and moving on after the war? It also brought up a lot about what people choose to remember after the war. Is it, like in transitional justice, the memories of the violence that are so important? Or is it actually memories of community and group cohesion that are important? And this is one example of this man, Now, he is an elder, and he brought me and all these people together to sing historical songs about the village, which is one subclan, one extended family. And they notably left out all the songs about the war, about colonialism, about line wrangles with their neighbors, and about inter-chieftain wars, which I had heard already from other people that belonged to their subclan, but notably left it out for me to record and for me to, I'm making a booklet for the children. That was one of the things the elders wanted me to do. And I found that very interesting, again, emphasizing not strife and not sort of disagreement, but community cohesion and moving on. Those are more formal practices where this kind of remembering literally who is members of your community and family is important. But then through everyday life, that also happened because of the land. People move back to their land, and it's customary land tenure. And so to access land, it's through lineage systems and through your family. And so in a way, the intergenerational strife lessened because youth had to adhere more to the social order that was present before the move to the camps and before the authority of the elders dwindled in the camps because of NGOs and government and military authority took over. As people returned back to the land, this authority kind of resurged just because of needing to sustain themselves from food. and access to the land. There are other things that also, social reproduction through sanction by the elders, so traditional forms of courtship, which assured social stability, so inheritance laws, all these kinds of indigenous law ways, all have resurged just naturally because of people's return to the land. Maybe because of my forest degree, I also ended up doing an art project with the community. They asked me to do self-portraits of themselves for their own means, for their homes. And I wasn't looking at doing any art, but they knew that I was a photographer through my years with them. And in the end, I looked at these portraits and I thought that they were very interesting and really kind of spoke to a lot of my research, what they taught me there, which was about resistance to kind of this grand narrative about Africans, particularly in regards to conflict or post-conflict, where they're seen as victims. And this very much speaks to them as survivors. You can't really see it so well, but anyways, we're working on an exhibit together. I guess part of the question I had is, in highlighting indigenous ways of knowing, and in really kind of emphasizing that knowledge comes from within communities, and expertise is found within communities rather than without, which is really in international policy and academia, I would say, the norm. I believe in that. I believe that that's necessary to do in terms of building respect. But I also feel that possibly there are dangers in doing so also in terms of revealing the way things work. Just the way that anthropologists sometimes got stuck in colonial times too, even to the best of their, wanting to do well by describing systems. They also gave people more tools to be able to get at it. So I guess that's one of the ethical questions I have.